Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. That's right, Farlands or Bust, the Guinness World Record winning series about a guy walking to the Farlands in Minecraft and not remembering how he made his hidey hole. There we go, there it is. So let us exit the hidey hole as we were serenaded awake by the soothing tones of sheep and Wolfie barking, and clean out our inventory a little bit here, as well as grabbing Wolfie, and that way's east. We are traveling west in episode 505. 505 HTTP version not supported is the error code there. Everybody always makes a big deal about episode 404. Page not found, lest you forget about all the other HTTP errors one could get in their browser. Let's not forget about error 505. Yeah, episode 505. It is Saturday, September 12th, 2015, and we've raised $2,656.02, up just a mere $5 since the last episode, I'm afraid. But that's all right. The ebb and flow of donations for Child's Play charity. We are very familiar with this. I was kind of hoping the whole world record thing would shed some light on the situation a little bit better, and we'd have some new donors and new viewers come in. But woo, hello. Speaking of new viewers, that guy's not going to be around for long. You're not going to be around to watch the entire episode, are you, there, Mr. Burning Skeleton? Are you? But, yeah, childsplaycharity.org is where you can learn about Child's Play Charity, and farlandsorbust.com is where you can donate to Child's Play Charity. That will add to that donation goal, trying to raise $60,000 this season, Season 6 of Farlands or Bust. So, indeed, I think we've very appropriately wrapped up all business there. Now it's time for fun. Wolfie? Oh, there he is. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, the last episode, speaking of the last episode, talked a little bit about some crazy sleep issues I was dealing with. Those always get good responses. It's one of these things that people everywhere, like, it's one of these commonalities of life, but, like, nobody talks about. Nobody talks about these weird psychotic episodes they have when they're trying to sleep if they're sick. The Alice in Wonderland syndrome, the sleep paralysis, but everybody seems, or most people, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to experience it. Yeah, that was one thing that's weird about it. I never even, mentioned it to anybody when I was a kid, because I thought people would think I was crazy. It's one of those things, you can't really describe your own perception to other people. If it's like a physical problem or illness or something, like, oh, I broke my arm, people can see that your bone is sticking out of your skin. Okay, you broke your arm, but you can't really. I'm seeing things at a distance, and my perspective is all skewed when I'm trying to sleep. If I'm sick, that's not going to go over well, I don't think. So there's a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Just a little bit of a reservations around those things. So it's nice now that we're all adults here, we can step back and mention these things and kind of at least find some common ground, some common experience amongst friends, amongst Farlanders. Whoop! All right. Now we're getting on. Well, careful, Wolfie. Hey there. Woo. Oh, yep. Well, that was a net loss. Ow! Oh, there goes more of those diamond boots of episode 500-ness. All right, have a seat, Wolfie. And I'm going to have to feed you one of these pork chops that we just got. Yep, Wolfie like that. So yeah, like I said, I got the same kind of response about sleep paralysis. People are like, oh, is that what that's called? That happens to me sometimes. It's frightening as heck. But yeah, all right, neat. Let's try to think of more things like that. No, I don't. I have no idea. Yeah, continuing on here. Not much in the news recently that I can really think of or touch on. No, not really, I'm afraid. Apparently they're using my face for advertisements on newspapers in Germany or something. The Guinness World Record thing, because I got some notifications on Twitter, and it was posted up on the Mindcrack Reddit that, oh, Kurt's on the front page of my paper here that I picked up at the train station. So that's fun. Ooh. Excuse me. Gurgle. Anyway, yeah, maybe I should have negotiated some sort of model release fee or something, but I don't know. I don't think that's how they work. Or maybe I'm just a terrible business person, and I should probably hire somebody who knows what they're talking about. But then I would not have anything left over to give myself for salary, and the whole system would crumble around us. But regardless, we do still have a bunch of questions. We did get a bunch of questions in from the surge of donations, thanks to the world record mention and whatnot. So we can get right to that. This one from a frequent donor, longtime Farlander, Xavier Penguin, asks, what are some things you've always wanted to try but have been too scared to? There are a lot of things I've wanted to try or wanted to do, but simply do not have the ability to, or like either the time or the money, like travel to this place or start owning, become a race car driver of my own race car that I would buy and fix up and build or whatever. Those things aren't really necessarily nice crater, aren't necessarily things I'm not doing out of fear or trepidation, but simple resources, both time and money and space. And knowledge, even knowledge is a resource that I do not have for doing a lot of these things. But always wanted to, but are scared to. This is a tough one. A tough little noodle. Let's see here. This noodle is not yet al dente. Too scared to. Again, probably like getting a pilot's license or learning how to fly or even just flying like a private plane or something like that. That is both a resource, money, and time issue, but also a nerves issue. I don't feel like I'd be good at it. It's a very technical thing to become a pilot. You have to. It's mostly the radio. If I didn't have to talk to anybody on the radio, if I didn't need to get any clearance from the radar people or the air traffic controller, I'd be great. I'd be a great pilot. But the whole talking on the radio to people and all that very technical scripted speak, I feel like my lack of comprehension would be a detriment there for that sort of stuff. And I feel like I would screw that up somehow. But otherwise, I'd really love to become a pilot or, just as a hobby or something like that. But it's the interaction with other humans, even over the radio, that would really, really throw me for a loop. But yeah, I suppose that's kind of one thing, sort of, kind of, maybe not a little bit. I don't know. I mean, like, I want to get, like, people say, oh, I've always wanted a tattoo, but I'm too scared of the pain. No, I want to get tattoos, but they're expensive. And I also don't know what I would get right away. At least for the first one. So that's another, that's not really so much fear as it is money and indecision. I don't know, this is a weird one. I'm not too scared of many things. I am the bravest of the brave. You cannot startle or frighten me. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Make more vlogs on YouTube? That's something I'm scared of doing. That's kind of a personal, social anxiety issue that is a little bit problematic and kind of prevents me from realizing my full vlogger potential on YouTube, on the Kurt Indeed channel, which I get messages all the time, like, oh, those poor patrons who started this channel. Well, technically, we're not at that patron level anymore. we very briefly flirted with it. We're never quite over it. So I'm like, okay, I'll start the vlog channel, but now we're well below it, which is fine. I'm not like trying to encourage people to go to Patreon. Donate to Child's Play charity. That is your number one priority right now. But yeah, that's just a little bit of a side project now. Just like I started. Dang it! I wanted to take the boat through there. Just like I started this channel to try to get over my social anxieties and shyness. The vlog channel was kind of a next step for that, but it's still a bit of a daunt. There's much daunt. There's so much daunt related to that, but yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of things about what I'd be scared to do. What are you scared to do? Is this a question that the answer you imagined? Because I really can't, like, I could go skydiving. I just really don't want to. It's not really a fright thing. It's just, I don't really want to go skydiving. Speaking of things I'm scared of getting shot off this by a skeleton that was over there. So let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. Whoa! Speaking of that skeleton, hey guy, why are you not burning? There you go. There you go. Good job. Good job. Keep up the good work. Burning to your doom. What are these? I'm seeing two floating sand things over here, and they are intriguing to me. Yep, that is exactly what they are. Two floating sand pieces. Interesting. We have to go through them like some sort of chicane, a race course. This is bizarre. I mean, I've seen this sort of thing before, maybe not two in a row. All right, let's go through the gate. Go through the gate. Good. Yeah, whoa! That's good. That's good stuff. That's a spicy meatball. Woo! Oh, hi, Wolfie. Neat. All right, well, that's weird. I mean, it has nothing to do with the far lands or whatever. It's just weird terrain glitches. Interesting. So yeah, thanks for anyway the very many frequent donations, Xavier Penguin, and questions. Always give me something to think about, even if I don't really come up with the best answers. I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but indeed, let's go to a question from George. What are your thoughts on deorbiting the International Space Station? A few years back, the plan was to deorbit in 2016, but now they are moving it to 2024 or even 2028. The U.S. pays $3 billion a year to maintain the station, and it has cost over $100 billion overall. What do you think? When do you think it should be deorbited into the Pacific? No, I think it should be deorbited over Canada. I haven't been keeping up with that. I mean, obviously, I wish we could keep it up as long as possible in perpetually. And that just comes down to funding. And NASA, as always, is, in my very personal and correct opinion, factual opinion, way underfunded. And I would hope that they could get funded enough to maintain the low Earth orbit stuff, like the space station, but also, the deep space stuff, the space telescopes, the planetary exploration, the robotic exploration, Earth observation and climate change observations and science. I wish they could have all these things and more, but unfortunately, there are folks who think otherwise or prefer to spend money elsewhere. So yeah, it's really a matter of money at this point. I mean, there's also the matter of, yes, these certain parts and modules get wear and tear as the years go on. So there is also both maintenance and safety issues. It is indeed the single... Oh, okay, my W key wasn't working there for a second. That's not good for the Varlands bus journey. It is the single most expensive man-made object ever, which is cool. It's in the World Records book, just like old KurtJMac. But yeah, I'm glad it continues to be extended. There is, there is some questionable, again, dealing with budgets and bureaucracies and whatnot. There's some questionable whether or not it is worth it. Not necessarily monetarily. You can't put a price on like science and stuff, or economic values on science. But are we getting out of it all that we could? Are we studying the right things? I think probably the biggest benefit of the space station is testing extended human space flight for future trips to, say, Mars. One could argue that maybe we should have instead put funding towards building a base on the moon to study and test out long-term space exploration, human space exploration, which is also, again, if NASA had all the funding, they could do both things, maybe. They could have a space station around the moon, which would be cool. But yeah, I know eventually it will have to be deorbited, simply due to, like I said, the maintenance and the wear and tear of certain elements. I mean, things as simple as wiring and electronics, radiator panels and things. There's only, there are continual maintenance tasks aboard the space station, both inside and outside. Spacewalks have to keep happening to replace this part or this hydrazine pump, or not hydrazine. What do they use for the radiators? It's also a very dangerous thing. But yeah, things are often breaking and needing fixing, and it will eventually have to be deorbited. I mean, they're even, the last I heard, they were thinking of the Bigelow space has an inflatable module, which was actually already, it was like NASA technology that was supposed to go on the International Space Station, but it was scrapped and sold. The technology was sold after the Columbia space shuttle disaster. Things were much reduced after that for the space station. I know they're going back and thinking of having Bigelow put up a module to the space station that is one of their inflatable modules. That is, it's a pressurized modules, but instead of the hard aluminum sides that all the current modules have, it's actually like an inflatable. So you get a lot more volume out of a lot less weight, and the simple air pressure on the inside maintains habitable space, which would be kind of cool. And again, another potential resource that you could then use in some sort of long-term spaceflight habitat. I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, I'm keeping tabs with it. I'll check every once and again. There's right now. There's actually it's crowded up on the space station. There are 9 astronauts up on the space station. There was a recent Soyuz launch that brought up 3 more atop the 6 that are already there. 2 of those are just going to stay there for a week, and then they'll swap crew with one of them and head back home. So that's kind of a rare thing that hasn't happened since the space shuttle has been in service. It's normally simply been 6 cosmonauts, that have been, that's a staircase that somebody dug, that have been on the station. Two crews, 2 3-person expedition crews. But now there's 9 right now, which I actually think they're departing today, or well, yesterday when I'm recording this. Whoa, yesterday when I'm recording this, wibbly wobbly timey wimey. So yeah, it's neat, it's interesting. I certainly, one of the things that would get you excited about it is try to find out when or if the International Space Station is flying over your house, or where you live, or wherever you're at. You can see it. You can see it indeed. It is a bright thing that zooms overhead. It appears to be moving slowly, simply because it's 300 miles or whatever in space. But it goes overhead silently as a single point of light. It's very cool. I've even had a chance to... I had my telescope set up, was about to do some observing that night, and the space station went overhead, and I'm like, the space station! I quickly turn around and try to find it in my finder, and then look through the telescope, and lo and behold, you can see the whole structure, the 4 solar panel arrays, the main kind of all the modules on the inside. That was really cool. That was probably one of the cooler things that I've seen through my telescope, rather just fortuitously. And there's videos, like people set up their telescopes and take videos of such flybys. And also there's some, what's his name, Terry Legault, some French guy, has some very expensive telescopic equipment, and he takes pictures of like the International Space Station transiting the sun or the moon or during an eclipse or certain other events that are really cool. And he even had some pictures of like the space shuttles as they were docking. He got pictures of them flying overhead, and like I said, he has really, really nice equipment, but he also, you know, he'll like get up and, well, you can only see the space station traveling in front of the eclipse from this country in Africa, so he'll get up and travel to that one specific coordinate that he calculated that he would be able to set up this arrangement and gets that picture. So I think this is his name, Terry Legault, or it's some French name or something. I think he's French. I hope he's French, or else I've been misinformed. But yeah, that's cool stuff like that. And there's people up there, for frick's sake. There's people. Human beings are up there in space, floating around. It's craziness. We live in the future. So yeah, thanks, George, for that question and topic. Woof. Ya Weasel, another very frequent donor. Ya Weasel has asked, what is your favorite species or genus of animal? I should have asked this along with the furry question in the last episode. In terms of inquiry and curiosity rather than affection. So not so much a turtle for personal relation, but for scientific inquiry. I'll have to think about this one really quick. I should probably think of these answers before I start recording. But that would mean I'm a professional, and I am not. That is the last thing that I am. So let's go to sleep, think on this question, and I'll be right back with you with an answer, hopefully. No pressure. And awakeness. Speaking of transits, there's a cloud transiting in front of the sun. Right, Wolfie? All right. Just looking at me puzzled. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, the kind of default, very science-y answer would be the tardigrades. Those little, very tiny, what are they? There's like they're called like water bears or something. I forgot what they're called, but they're these very robust little microscopic animals that have like 8 legs, and they're not like single cell organisms. They're like full on fledged. I think they're in the animal kingdom, I think, anyway. But they like can survive forever. Almost. They're like invincible. Like they can survive in the vacuum of space. It's kind of one of the going examples of how robust and capable life is, and that perhaps life does exist, say, in places like Titan or under the ice sheet of Europa, or perhaps gives credence to the theory that the seeds of life were planted on Earth. Careful, Wolfie! Via an asteroid from an impact from Mars, from an ancient Mars. Like an asteroid, a very large asteroid or comet hits Mars. Mars has microscopic life on it because it had oceans and whatnot. Spews forth a bunch of debris that goes out into space, and some of that debris happens to fall on a prehistoric Earth, and on board those pieces of debris are animals or even amoebas or some sort of life form such as the tardigrade who can survive. It goes into kind of a deep hibernation out in the frozen vacuum of space, but then thaws out and then survives and wakes up here on Earth, and then that's the seed to life. That's a theory. It's a tough to prove theory, but it's a theory, which is, like I said, it's kind of supported by the fact that such animals and organisms do exist and have been tested to be able to survive such conditions. So yeah, I suppose as far as like science is concerned, those sort of organisms, I'm personally very interested and just very confused by viruses. I mentioned this before. Like a virus isn't. It's not like a bacteria or anything like that. A virus isn't. Like it skirts the border between what's a living organism and what isn't, because it's really kind of just an unfortunate arrangement of proteins that happen to mix up with your body's proteins in the wrong way. Like the puzzle piece goes together, but it's not from the same puzzle. So that's why like a flu virus or even more deadly viruses they're just these things floating around, existing for no reason than other to mess your stuff up, and like that's just really whoa! Careful, Wolfie. Speaking of organisms messing me up, Wolfie. That's just interesting to me, and yeah, there is kind of argument either way as to whether or not these are living organisms or not. So that sort of stuff is interesting to me, But anyway, yeah, that was a different question. I'm so glad you guys are so original, and you give me ideas on things to talk about here. 505 episodes into the series, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna run out of original questions eventually. Indeed. Let's see. Oh, speaking of things we're afraid to do and haven't done yet, Herman asks, "Have you ever donated blood? Or have you signed up to be an organ donor, etc.?" No, I've never donated blood. I don't know why. I'm a little bit queasy around needles and stuff. Like, I'm alright with the pain. The little pinch is like, whatever, but I don't like seeing the needle go in and the blood come out. That's a little bit to me. But, yeah, I don't know why I haven't. I know some people who's, like, at their work or whatever, they have the blood drive or the blood bus. Ooh, that sounds like a trip I want to take. Come by and like, for work you can, if you want to donate blood or whatever, do that. But I've never worked in such a place or anything like that. So, no, I've never donated blood. I probably should too. I don't even know off the top of my head what blood type I am, to be honest with you. Are you a organ donor? Yes, I'm signed up on the old driver's license to be an organ donor. I also... Yeah, why not? I'm also I haven't like done anything. I'm quite young still, but it's kind of a thing in my family. Some of my family that instead of say of natural causes of old age, when one passes, instead of doing the full funeral and casket and getting buried thing, donating your body to science instead is kind of an interesting thing that's been kind of, I don't know where or how it started, but kind of been happening in my family. It's kind of a weird topic to be talking about. I'm not going to get into specifics, obviously, as to who or what or whatever, but that feels like something I could do as well. It's similar along the same lines as, obviously, I'm young right now, so I would donate my organs to hopefully help other people. But in advanced age, when that's not really a feasible thing, when you pass, I'd be like, yeah, I could, sure, donate to science or whatever. Just make sure it doesn't go to some sort of cosmetic school or anything like that. Make sure it goes to science, for, certain, I don't know if any of you are working in hospitals or nurses or doctors or things. There's often in the classes you take, don't you have to do the whole cadaver studies, which I would never be able to do, but like that sort of stuff to donate for that. And then obviously once science is done with you get cremated or whatever. But that's something I'll probably eventually sign on the dotted line for. Sign me up. Just seems a little bit better than taking up space in the ground when you really have no need for it. My personal opinion there. Whatever you believe is fine by me. But yeah, that's something that just kind of popped in my head right now when we were talking about this. All right. Very exciting and uplifting topics here on Farlands or Bust. Perhaps we should switch gears. let's talk about a question here from LG Kava, or Kava. Kava. I don't know. One of those pronunciations. Regarding co-op games, this is going back a few episodes, I mentioned co-op games. You and Beef should do a Portal 2 co-op. It would be interesting and funny. It would be interesting and funny. A lot of people, more so than pairing me up with Beef, but say I should do some sort of Portal 2 co-op with somebody, because I've not played that co-op. I watched some co-ops, and I've watched some Let's Plays of Portal and Portal 2. Have I played Portal 2? No, I have. I know I haven't on my channel, but I'm trying to think if I have just outside of that. No, I don't think I have. I have it, but I've not played it. So yeah, a lot of the puzzles and whatnot will have already been spoiled for me, and perhaps it's been long enough where I'll forget. But I'm sure I'll be like, oh, I remember this. This is how you do this because I've watched these two people play or whatever. And I recently saw Anasia, another YouTuber, was live streaming Portal 2. So it's not like it's an old game, but it's still, I think, is a kind of a popular YouTube game. And I think, yeah, I don't know, maybe if not Beef, then maybe somebody else. Constantly on the lookout for co-op things or Minecraft adventure maps. I had a good time, obviously, playing with Dr. Brian Lorgon 111. The Wayward Wonders was an interesting and a different map, and we always try to be a little bit different. Try to do something a little bit different than everybody else, not your normal ultra hardcore CTM map or anything like that. Do something a little bit different. So I'm always looking for stuff like that. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. And perhaps I'll take you up on it, or perhaps we'll find somebody else, or perhaps we'll find another game. Who knows? Only time will tell. Only time will tell what sort of videos will come out on old KurtJMac's channel. Even I don't know. Which is why I'm simply playing the same games over and over and over again. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. But the sun is setting here. That's a wide variety of topics today. I do appreciate everybody contributing to those through donations to Child's Play charity at farlandsofbus.com. As I say, I do declare you can, in the comment box, there's a comment box when you donate. You can leave a question, or you can just leave a message. I get quite a few just simple messages from people saying thanks and good job, and I enjoy your stuff. That's always welcome as well. Or you can ask a question, and I will try to answer it. Certainly, some of them I will choose not to. Or I will choose to simply because it's a weird question, like the whole furry thing. But I don't know why I just did that. But yeah, either way, we get to donate to Child's Play charity is the main goal there. Ooh, look at that tree. Let us make our hidey hole under the tree, which is a little bit dangerous because there's a lot of shadows here. Have a seat there, Wolfie. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to need you to scooch a little bit that way. Thank you as well. All right, so digging in for the night. Whoops. Digging in for the night, indeed. Let's dig down here. Making our standard... Woof, yeah, I know. 3x3 hidey hole here. 3x3x3. Luxury. 9 square meter apartment. Oh, man, I had to do the math in my head really quick to make sure I was right there. There we go. Let's plunk down the workbench. Make some... Now we got way too much Wolfie food. Oh, God, I almost made half slabs. I kind of overreacted there. That really wouldn't have been an oh, God situation, but... There we go. And I already have some boats. So I think we're all set for next week when we continue with Farlands of Bust. Woof! Wolfie's excited. Oh, dang it. Thank you so much for watching episode 505, anyway, of Farlands of Bust. Like I said, keep donating, farlandsofbust.com. Click that like button, that always helps me out. And, yeah, look forward to new games, co-ops, single-player stuff, indie games, racing games, live streams. Twitch Tuesday keeps happening, so I do appreciate it. Having fun here on the YouTube train. Let's stay on through the next stop, at least. I don't know what that means. I'm making train analogies. Give me a break. I can't remember the last time I rode a train. But, yeah, thanks so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Ooh, excuse me.